Another round of .NET Foundation Board candidate interviews. My name is Alyssa Nicoll, and I will be running the show today and interviewing our four lovely guests. And before I do that, just a little bit about me. I am an Angular developer advocate for Kendo UI at Progress, and I'm very, very excited to be here today and get to do these interviews. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome on our first guest of the day, Jamie Howarth.
Hi there, Alyssa. How's it going?
Hey, Jamie. Okay, did I say your last name right?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
You did. You're one of the few people I've met that manages to get it right first time. It's basically Howard, but without the TH.
Gotcha. So can you tell us about basically a little bit about yourself and why you're running for the .NET Foundation Board?
I sure can. So I have been writing C# and .NET for 12 years now, and heavily involved in the open source community around .NET for 10 years or so. And that includes contributions to NuGet, Automapper, Refit, and the Umbraco CMS. I have, since 2017, I've also been an ASP Insider, and I'm also a mentor for Code First Girls, which is a non-profit initiative in the UK to get young women aged 11 to 18 into programming.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I keep pretty busy. So, and on the side of that, I've during COVID-19, and I'd say for the last 9 months or so, I've also been working with a non-profit called the Joe Cox Foundation, which was set up in the UK in 2016 to honour the memory of a late legislator, Joe Cox, who was unfortunately killed in 2016 during a political campaign. And during COVID-19, I've also been the sort of de facto CTO for an initiative called helpyourhighstreet.org, which is a directory of small businesses that are selling gift cards to help them with their cash flow during COVID-19, because it's an important line of credit that small businesses have, because obviously they're still incurring rent and staffing costs and all the rest. And while the government's done, a lot around that, it's nice to connect consumers with their favorite businesses to support them.
So before we jump to the next .NET question, I just want to ask, anytime I hear someone who's just doing everything and like I always have to find out, like, what is your secret?
I mean, when it comes to working with the foundation, I mean, I basically do a few updates for them. They've got a WordPress site and a site that's built on a platform called Nation Builder. So they have sort of very few sort of regular demands. So I may be checking on them once or twice a month to do updates, security patches. I'm supposed to be doing a session with them at some point, obviously when COVID-19 is over, to discuss digital security for all their volunteers and their staff. Nice. So things like two-factor authentication, bits and pieces like that. The Help Your High Street initiative I sort of came into it, I'd say around about late March, but there's actually a team of 8 developers in there. So, and we set up a brilliant process in GitLab, because previously the developers using it were just emailing around zip files. So the guy who set it up, a guy called Kanishka, he's an MBA grad from Stanford, and he basically sort of didn't really know how to do all the technical process. So I gave them GitLab, put Cloudflare in front of it. We're using GitLab Pages. So nice. It's really super simple. But it's all really easy and reusable, and people are using VS Code or just even Notepad just to make their own little changes. And yeah, so we've got about 8 developers spanning, I think it's about 5 or 6 different time zones. So all I did was simply set up a trust and transparency process that says, right, if you want to make any changes, then send in a pull request. 2 other people have to review it. As long as they review it, it goes live. So it's all trust and, and the transparency of the process. It's very agile, but it means that anybody can get on and contribute. And my key involvement was actually setting that process up, so then I could be hands off in terms of the technical stuff. So
that's really nice. And it's so much better than sending around zip files.
So much better. Yes, absolutely.
So while we're on, I'm going to jump to this question. While we're on contributions, are there any other contributions you'd like to highlight to the .NET Foundation?
Yes, I have been working with the Outreach Committee. As part of being a mentor for Code First Girls, I have been working on a C# syllabus, because currently they've got a Python one, an SQL one, and a web development one. And I'm the mentor in the web development track. And I've been sort of developing a C# syllabus to use with Raspberry Pis for all the students for Code First Girls. And I've been working with the Outreach Committee and taking minutes when the Outreach Committee has been meeting every month in the foundation already. and liaising with a few other developers who have also made their own or started their own C# syllabuses, or syllabi, sorry. And yeah, so I've already been heavily involved with the foundation, taking notes, engaging in outreach, and that's sort of what I want to bring to the foundation is more of that, basically, and sort of pushing when kids and young people do start programming. There's tons of stuff out there, like there's Scratch and there's Python tutorials and even there's PHP tutorials, but there's not that much around C#, and I really want to see the foundation sort of push that as a thing, basically,
as an initiative. That's really
absolutely
neat.
Yeah, because ultimately representation in STEM is only going to start when we actually get people involved from young ages. And so improving STEM representation, especially for women and minorities, is hugely important. And we need to, in the words of, I forget who said it, but catch them young, basically. And we need to start with K-12 initiatives to get that. And that's what I really want to see the foundation do. And that's what I would really want to push for.
What is the age you'd mentioned with was it the coding for women or the coding for girls?
Code First Girls. Yeah. Yes. It's 11 to 18 years old. So it's high school, basically, in the UK. So yeah, obviously all the courses right now are virtual only. But we're hoping to resume in person. They basically use university facilities, and there's 2 world-class universities a couple of miles up the road from me. So we'll be using those when COVID-19 is over to actually host weekly classroom sessions. It's
such a weird time right now, but I have to give you props for still being a part of the community and like getting in there even amongst the weirdness. So
yeah, the other thing I do as well is I'm there's a monthly meetup in Canary Wharf which I help to organise the speakers for, called CanaryWharf.net Meetup, and obviously we've moved to virtual during that as well. So I host those once a month as well, in the second Tuesday of every month.
Very cool. I wanted to ask you before, we have like a minute and a half before we wrap up our session today, but what experience do you have that lends itself to being on the board?
Well, as I mentioned, volunteering and working with nonprofits for the last year or so has given me a lot of experience with, obviously, the sort of transparency and trust accountability that's necessary when working with groups of volunteers. As I say, I've already been heavily involved in the last 6 months with the foundation and its outreach group, including, as I say, minuting and actually taking notes of what people are doing, how we're doing proposal processes. I think I would bring that experience to being a board member. I think that would be what I can bring to the table in terms of my skills and experience.
Very wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Jamie, for your time. We have a little bit, I think about a minute left. If there's anything else that you wanted to share or talk about during your interview.
Yeah, well, I'm currently working on a couple of nice little open source projects. One of them is an online shop module for Umbraco, which I'm breathing some sort of new life into for one of my startups. Which is called Michello, which is quite good fun. And if anyone wants to go check that out, then it's github.com/JamieHoward0/Michello. And I'm also working, there's a really nice little tool called Refit, which I really like. It's a way of generating classes around interfaces just for doing REST style. So you can do get, post, put, delete, all that kind of stuff. And I've been contributing to that for a while. And I'm building a few kind of sort of official client libraries around it. But my big one I'm working on at the moment is the Twitter one, because Twitter client libraries for .NET Core aren't really quite there yet. So I'm hoping that I can get this one wrapped up and released hopefully in the next couple of weeks or so.
Wow, goodness gracious. Is there anything you're not doing?
Sleeping much.
Well, thank you so much, Jamie, for coming on and doing the interview, and best of luck to you.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.